Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Pickacard reading. So this is for May 17th through the 23rd, and we have three choices today. So our first choice is Nina Simone, our second choice is Kate Bush, and our third choice is Amy Winehouse. So I'm going to give you a second to pick one of these cards, and we'll get started with a reading. If you chose Nina Simone, the message for you on her card is never trust cures from a system that made you sick. When love is no longer on the menu, don't eat. There is nothing more beautiful than speaking truth to power. So I'm going to set her right here at the top, and then I'm going to pull the three astro cards that we got for this week. So Gemini, Quincux, and Taurus. And then our I pulled 5 tarot cards, which are the Fool, the 8 of Coin, and the Ace of Swords in reverse, the 10 of Wands, and the 4 of Swords. So the first thing I was going to say is I think it's interesting that we have the energy of Gemini and also Taurus going along with this particular week, because there is so much energy that is stuck in Taurus and Gemini. So let's see, Venus is currently stationed in Gemini going in a retrograde, and Taurus is currently where the sun is at right now. So Taurus, this card is called the Bombshell, and it says earthy, practical, steadfast, productive, fertile, tactile, ample, ripe, solid, possessive, tenacious, loyal, patient, and deliberate. And Gemini is curious, communicative, versatile, flexible, variety speaking, street smart, mobile, studious. And a Quincux is irritable, mystifies, complicates, contradicts, clashes, misses the mark, requires translation, adjusts, makes curious, educates, and transforms. So there might be some sort of complex problem going on with maybe things that are steady, maybe our love nature versus our ego, or having to learn something new to change the way in which we view beauty. Things like that might be on the menu for you. The other thing also is our first card that came up with our tarot cards is the Fool card. So the Fool is also talking about new beginnings, starting off a completely fresh new start. And I think in this one, there's a lot of thinking going on, I think in particular about work. The 8 of Pentacles usually shows us where we feel like our work is ready to be harvested, right? Is it ready to go to market? Is everything that we've been working on, completed? And the other thing that's coming up is the 10 of Wands, and it's also the 4 of Swords is also coming up. So the 10 of Wands is all about feeling overworked, or maybe spending a little bit too much time focusing on, all the things that you have to get completed or finished or done. And that can be a little bit overwhelming and very stressful. And so I think it's also important to understand kind of self-care in the moment with the 4 of Swords. So I think what's going on with you is that you're seeking maybe a new source of work in the future, maybe thinking about what kind of jobs you want to do. The other thing is, like, maybe in some way this all plays into beauty in some way, I think, with Taurus. So this might be a reading maybe for some of our hairstylist friends out there, or other people that kind of work in an industry that might not be super safe or sustainable in the common occurrences of things going on. Yeah, and I think the thing on Nina Simone's card that talks about never trust a cure from a system that makes you sick, I think there might be a frustration of even wanting to be a part of this system that is already putting you in a space for you to not be super safe. So, and then the other thing is there's nothing more beautiful than speaking truth to power. And so I think that's another thing of talking about rediscovering beauty, or redefining like what is beauty versus what it was maybe in the past. And by past, I mean a couple of months ago. So this is a lot of times when Gemini comes up in a reading, it's a time to kind of work on learning new skills, or even multitasking. So, and I think that this is kind of a push-pull, because the energy of Taurus is so slow-moving and it likes to be steady, whereas Gemini likes to be having multiple things going on at once. Like I said before, like multitasking and stuff. So I think also, with starting a fresh new start or inquiring about other things that you could be doing, be careful of maybe starting a few arguments. because the Ace of Swords usually deals with communications, and in this one it's in a reversal, so it might even be like not necessarily starting off on the right page with maybe the type of questions that you want to be asking people about what kind of job advice, or what they think they should change a certain model of their business or something. Thank you so much. I'm going to move on to our second reading. If you chose Kate Bush, then this is the reading for you. So I'm going to go ahead and read our Kate Bush card. So Kate Bush is a Leo with a Aquarius moon, and it says, never let go of mystery, cultivate nostalgia for what never was. The arrows of desire are sometimes dipped in poison. So if this is your card, I'm going to go ahead and pull out all of our astrology cards for this particular reading for this week. The first card that comes up is Pisces, the Mystic, and it says imaginative, compassionate, healing, empathetic, mystical, adorning, magical, allowing, dreamy, ephemeral, enigmatic, spiritual, emotional, escapist, impractical, oceanic, self-pitying, and illogical. And then our second card that came up was Pluto. So Pluto deals with transformation. It says renewal, inner resources, basic instinct, motivation, personal power, evolution, composting cycles, death, rebirth, subversion, suspicion, obsession, intensity, all of those intense feelings. And then our last card for our astrology cards is the fourth house. So the fourth house is family, home, background, comfort, shelter, cooking, real estate, self-care, rejuvenation, and our shell. So let's see. And then our tarot cards for this week is the Hermit, the King of Swords, the Three of Cups, the King of Pentacles, and the Lovers. So I feel like in this one, because the fourth house comes up, I'm feeling like this is a little bit of a discussion that's going on that's transforming the home in some way. So I feel like there might be a little bit of a for some people, this might turn into an argument because Pluto deals with transformation, and I'm seeing the Lovers here. So there might be some sort of conflicts coming between two partners where we have one person that's a little bit more logical than the other, that really likes to think of things very cut and dry and very objective, and the other partner that is thinking more about security and wants to maintain maybe a sense of closeness, or is thinking more about physical proximity to their partner and how to maintain stability together. And I think that there's not necessarily anything going wrong, but I do think that there's this idea of maybe spending too much time together, and it's maybe making you guys think about what was so much better about the relationship maybe a couple weeks ago before quarantine. And I think that there has been some very beautiful times even during quarantine, I think, with the Pisces energy that's been coming up. Let's see. There's maybe this idea of maybe hosting a little get-together maybe with some friends or something. I may be getting out of this vibration of, just kind of staying at home all the time with the Hermit card. I do see this conflict of interest between these two cards, and I'm going to pull a quick extra card just to see where we feel like this argument or maybe this conflict is going to end. But all the cards have come up pretty positive, so I am thinking highly positively about this one. Oh, kind of the Hangman. So it might be that maybe between the two partners, they don't necessarily see eye to eye. There might even be a discussion with the Three of Cups about maybe opening up this relationship into more of a polyamorous relationship. The Three of Cups, sometimes you see it with a third person in the relationship, or the idea of an extra partner, or some sort of thing like that. So best of luck to everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Be sure to like and subscribe on my YouTube and visit my other accounts. Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna move on to our next person. So if you chose Amy Winehouse, this is the Pickacard for you. So Amy Winehouse, I'm going to read this off really fast, and I'm going to put her at the top. So Amy Winehouse is a Virgo Sun, Capricorn Moon, and a Gemini Rising. So what she says is, learn to love your truant heart. Honeymoons should last a lifetime, and treat your scars as your best feature. Okay. So our three astrology cards today are opposition and balance. It says relates, mirrors, interacts, confronts, makes conscious, manifests, disciplines, conflicts with, tests, objectifies, and calls out. The fifth house of passion, so performance, entertainment, creativity, costume, play, love affairs, passion, pleasure, parties, children, humor. And the conjunction, which is almost like one part of the opposition. And this is combines with, enhance, strengthens, join forces, activates, intensifies, authorize, allies with, concentrates, saturates, overrides, and overwhelms. So our cards for this week are the Ace of Pentacles, the Devil card, the Nine of Wands reversed, the Queen of Pentacles upright, and the Page of Swords in reverse. So that's a lot of cards. So with the first card that's coming up is Ace of Pentacles. I always see the aces as a new opportunity that's being presented. So usually the Ace of Pentacles is usually about like a physical opportunity, usually like a new job or an idea for a job. But in this case, I think with the fifth house, I am feeling like it could go two different ways. There's one with, I think, some people that are kind of thinking about their creative expression, like how they're going to choose to perform. So as we all know, it's hard to perform right now if you're a stage performer. So some of these people might be moving on into, finding another way to join forces with and enhance maybe their performance by maybe cultivating an online show or performance. There are other people, though, I feel like this is seeking out maybe a new relationship. So this might be the start of maybe being like kind of feisty to have something new. So I have a feeling that this is maybe for some of our singles as well. So these might be some people that are kind of itching to get into kind of a passionate situation, some sort of hookup or something juicy, because it's we're getting closer to summer, and I feel like people are getting into kind of that energy. And so the Devil card kind of talks about like kind of our personal desires, more of like the seedier nature of ourselves, like kind of things that we wouldn't necessarily be super proud of or have it on the surface, but underneath it's kind of definitely about like carnal pleasures. And I think in a reversal, it's like trying to have some sense of release, maybe not going overboard, but definitely being like, this is something I need. And the Nine of Wands, I think, is also talking about how during, the last couple months with quarantine, the Nine of Wands is about being very protective, being defensive. A lot of times it's depicted as somebody holding off other people and fighting off people, or even hidden away behind armor or maybe a tower of some sort. So in this, it might be wanting to move away from this vibration. And finally, with the Queen of Pentacles, Pentacles always deal with things of physical nature, like we were talking about before. So in this one, it's kind of talking about being able to be giving in a physical way. And a lot of times this can be about taking care of others. So it could be that, having this, I think it's interesting that it starts with the Ace of Pentacles and ends on the Queen of Pentacles as well. So I just think that this is a personal need to kind of feel fulfilled. So having some sense of pleasure makes things so much easier to kind of work through in the moment. So I feel like this Page of Swords card is kind of a little bit of a PS card. And I think what it's talking about is be careful of not being overly aggressive in what it is that you're wanting. I think that there still is a need for caution. But I think it's like, this whole part of like this truant heart, and honeymoons should last a lifetime. I have a feeling that whoever picked this particular set of cards probably lives for love. Like, they might be somebody that is, ruled by Venus in some way. So maybe our Libras or our Pisces or our Taurus people. I think possibly Taurus with all this earth energy. But yeah, it's important to these people. And so I think another part of them is like having kind of like this feisty energy, right? Like talking about this truant heart and kind of having this, like that devil attitude, like damned if I do, damned if I don't. Kind of, I need to have something happen. So I'm gonna pull a quick card just to see how this goes, or if there's another PS. Page of Swords, just be careful of like how you communicate or how you go about the safety of things that you're choosing to do. All right, but the Queen of Pentacles is very promising. All right, and it ends with the Four of Pentacles. So I do think that it ends up helping you gain the sense of stability, or maybe sometimes the fours make us feel more grounded. So maybe in some sense this pleasure allows you to kind of feel back into your body in some way. But anyways, thank you so much. This is your weekly Pick a Card, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to see more content from me, please like and subscribe on my YouTube. I'm going to be starting a Twitch as well, so let me know if there's any type of readings that you'd like to see, and thank you so much. All right, bye everybody. Have a great week.